Welcome to Crimson Guitars. We are building a whole guitar from start to finish, and you're about halfway through right now, I would estimate. And we're at the stage where the new three-piece rosewood neck has been inlaid, and the fretboard profile and all of that jazz, and I need to fret it now. The client has chosen a gold hypoallergenic fret wire. Now this is slightly harder than your average nickel-silver composite. Slightly harder, it's harder, it's much more brittle. And harder on a luthier's tools as well, for that matter. But it lasts longer, and it's gold, it's gold. You can't not have something that looks goldish around the place. I digress. Let us get to fretting this new neck. First things first, we need some tools. Each fret slot needs to be nice and clear of glue and dust and all of that. And I'm using this modified little saw, who I unfortunately cut up. I think I'd actually snapped the blade at some point doing something silly, and I then cut it up into and created this tool. It's got a little notch there for cleaning out right up next to the binding, and it does the job rather admirably. Obviously, with the binding in the way, you can't use a full saw. After that, I've got a little triangular file, or in the file trade they call them 3 square, and I've made a lovely little Paduke handle for that. And what you need to do is just chamfer the top of each fret slot. Now, as well as helping the fret, helping guide the fret itself in, it slightly ameliorates if somebody is ever to remove the frets from this fretboard, the tangs of the frets are going to try and break the ebony, and if you've chamfered this here, that will be minimized as much as possible. So I'm trying to make life easier for those that come after me, shall we say. With the fret slots prepared, one last sand down. This time I'm using 400 grit wet and dry paper. So with your fret slots prepared, it is time to move on to the fret wire itself. Now, you can buy it in straight strips, or straight lengths, I suppose you would say, or some come in rolls like this. Makes no real difference to me, although a roll is slightly more unwieldy, shall we say. So what I need to be doing now is cutting fret wire roughly to length. I basically want, that's hard stuff, I basically want a millimetre or 2 on either side of the fretboard. It's very important to cut so that the teeth are parallel to the fret tang, because if you bend the tang as you install the fret, the tang will knock the fret off sideways, and you will damage your fretboard and have a useless fret, and, well, you should be rather depressed with that result. Each fret cut to length and ready for the next stage. Behold a pair of fret Tang nippers. Now obviously I am creating a fretboard with binding, and what we need to do is snip off just the smallest section of the Tang so that the top of the fret fits over the binding. And it's a fairly simple, straightforward little process. The fret goes in, and you snip off the end in 2 or 3 goes, otherwise you are liable to bend your fret. And then you make sure that you've taken off enough so that it just is smaller than the fret slot. Like so. All of the fret tangs have been nipped using the fret tang nipper to the right length, and we are ready to move on with the fretting process.